So let's define what that means. Now, I did my dissertation on sex offenders of children, and in my clinical practice as a forensic psychologist, I have seen thousands and thousands of cases where sexual grooming occurred. Now, for us to define sexual grooming, we're going to define it as a process of actions or behaviors that's used to establish an emotional connection and trust with a minor or vulnerable person as a means of persuasion to allow a sexual boundary to be violated. Now, this can be done in person or online. Now, sexual grooming not only occurs with a potential targeted victim, but also can include the victim's parent or family. The research talks about grooming as occurring in 5 stages. The first one is targeting, and this is when perpetrators often select the person or the child that they want to groom. For example, a single mom with a child and an absent dad, the perpetrator moves in as the helper to gain the trust of the mother and the child. I've seen that scenario many times. Online perpetrators may target minors who present sadness or loneliness or are looking for a lot of attention. Number 2, gaining access. This can include gestures and things to make the potential victim feel special. Examples could be gifts, excessive compliments, or excessive attention. This also includes setting up scenarios where the perpetrator has one-on-one time with the potential victim. Someone offers free babysitting, sleepovers. By the way, a 35-year-old man who wants to do a sleepover with a 9-year-old boy and they're not related to the 9-year-old boy, that should raise a red flag of potential grooming. Number 3 is trust development. The perpetrator becomes a stable and consistent presence in the potential victim's life, offers emotional support, guidance, and sometimes even protection. The 4th stage, desensitization to sexual content or touch. This often includes small boundary violations. It could start out as frequent forced hugs, wrestling, that's one I've seen many, many times in grooming situations. Also, it could move on to sexual talk, allowing the child access or exposure to pornography. And the 5th stage is maintaining control, and this typically involves use of secrecy. Sometimes the perpetrator will tell the victim that this is our special time. This is only between you and I. You know, I could get in trouble if anyone found out. Sometimes the perpetrator will utilize shame. What would your parents think if they found out you did things like this? Now, in this approach above, we use children as the example of sexual grooming, but this model can also be applied to sexual exploitation and grooming of vulnerable adults. The big difference is sexual activity between an adult and a minor is well defined as illegal. Or in other situations where there's a potential of leveraging authority or power in a relationship, for example, a therapist who manipulates a patient into sexual activity, that's illegal in most states. It's considered sexual abuse. A clergy member who manipulates one of the congregation into sexual activity, that's in some states is considered sexual abuse. Another big example you're seeing in the law now is in many ages, the age of consent for sexual activity is 16. But there are now laws that are being passed where, say, for example, a high school teacher having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student is considered a form of sexual abuse. Now, if you have an interest in this topic or other topics on forensic psychology, check out my YouTube channel. I posted a longer video that goes more to detail about the research and provides some personal clinical examples that I've seen in my work as a practicing forensic psychologist. Also, you can find me on various social media outlets. Everything is under Dr. Jeff Kieliszewski, forensic psychologist. Thanks.